are bullying me, the reason why they're going this far is because they're desperate. But I had to think about it like this. I'm not saying I ever did this, but if I'm, walking a mile in their shoes and I gang raped somebody, that's really bad. Like, that's a really fucked up thing to do to somebody. Gang rape, like, that's very traumatizing. Most people, like, they probably would be hell-bent on revenge. You know what I mean? If I did that to somebody, like, that's the type of behavior where if someone's in their right mind, they would not talk to me ever again if I did something like that. You know what I mean? Like, all the people that I look up to, all the people that looked up to me, they probably wouldn't want anything to do with me. I mean, raping somebody is bad enough, but a gang rape, it really is really bad. That just makes things so much worse. So if people were to find that out about me, that I did that to somebody, like, I don't know. I mean, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I probably wouldn't want nobody to know about that. And if they find out, I would probably be too ashamed to come out in public. But that's just me, though. Some people, they're narcissists, and if they get narcissistic fuel from that, not only are they going to keep doing it, but they're going to intimidate and in some cases murder a victim to prevent them from speaking out if they get off on that kind of thing. It's one thing if they just do it because, they want to be cool and they want to fit in and they feel terrible about it and they don't want to do it no more. I mean, it's still bad, but it's not as bad as the ones who love doing it. They get a high from it, a rush from it, the power that they get from mistreating a person. And, they just don't want to, like, most of the time, the only thing they care about is getting caught. Most of the time, the only thing they care about is continuing to be able to have access to do it again because they love the rush. They love the, they get an addiction from it and they love the rush from it. They love the power that they feel from taking from someone without their permission. If they're sick in the head, then they like the power that they get from taking from someone. The power that you get from mistreating a person and dogging them out and getting some type of like sexual gratification from that as well. I'm pretty sure that some people get a kick out of it. They get a high from it. And the only thing most of the time they're concerned about is whether or not the victim is going to speak up, especially if they're not willing to pay a victim for their silence. A lot of the times things get very ugly. Some people may be a little bit soft-hearted in that area where they'll pay a victim to be quiet, and most of the time that works. It's the ones who are greedy well beyond their limit that get caught up. I'm not saying that it's okay to gang rape somebody, and it's not okay to bribe somebody to be able to get away with it. I'm just saying that the chances of getting caught are much higher for people who are desperate and greedy than the ones who are like, look, I did this fucked up, here's some hush money. It sounds really terrible, but a lot of people who are abusers, a lot of them get away with it for so long because they give people hush money. And hush money is, I guess, is considered financial restitution for their pain and suffering. Like, say if they need to go to the hospital, or if they caught an STD, if they need to get treatment, you know what I mean, then they're getting paid. But it's the ones who gang rape somebody and don't do anything for them. Try to hurt a victim, try to kill them, take all. It's bad enough to rob somebody or to rape somebody, but you got to multiply it times 3 when you gang rape somebody and you pillage them. Like, you take everything they own, everything they have, and then you continue to gang rape them over and over and over and over and over and over again, to where you're you parasitically feeding off this person's life force and their light. Pretty much doing it over and over. And like I said, if they get a high from that, and say the victim is like numb to the experience, like the victim is handling it very well, then some people are sadistic and they're psychopaths to where they'll escalate. And that's what happened to me. Like when they gang raped me and I found out about it, I felt numb. I mean, I was vulnerable, but I felt numb because the universe protected me through that entire experience. So I have to give all credit to the universe for why I was strong enough to survive that experience, because they were trying to break me. They were trying to get me to commit suicide. So for me, because I got the universal guidance and protection, and I learned what self-love is, that was just an experience that was outside of my control. That was an experience that my free will was violated, so I couldn't stop it from happening. I learned a lot from that experience. I don't have an emotional connection or an emotional bond to my abusers. I don't see myself as above them or beneath them in any way, shape, or form. I don't feel anything personal towards them. But there are times where, like I said, I get irritated. There are times where I get mad because they disrespect me and they follow me around all the time. But I'm not taking it personal. I'm at a point in my life to where I've been going through it all my life, and I've had to learn to let things go. Yeah, I've had to learn to let it go. Like, if it's a situation that was outside of me and there was nothing that I could have done to change the outcome, what other choice do I have but to let it go? I mean, I could sit and sulk and self-pity and get revenge, but what good is that going to get me? I don't want no trouble with the law. I don't want to get in trouble. I want to keep the peace. All I wanted to do when I came here was keep the peace, do the things that I love, attract healthy people into my life, have a good life, and enjoy every moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when they pick on me every day and they try to remind me what they did, the universe gives me strength to move forward, because there was nothing that I could have done about it. It was I don't know how many people are involved, but it's enough to where I couldn't have fought them all by myself at the same time. Like, they ganged up on me. I was drugged, I was vulnerable, I was pregnant, I was being held against my will, I was being tied up, I was kidnapped, my family members were involved. It was just one of those plots and schemes that it happened because there was so much against me that there was nothing I could have done. But like I said before, I'm grateful that the universe protected me through that experience, and I'm not in any pain. I'm a survivor. I made it through. And I actually spoke with some people that have been through the same thing that I've been through, and they've given me some advice on how to overcome, being human trafficked. Because a lot of victims, I would say 98% of victims that are being human trafficked have been, they have been or are still being gang stalked. And then I would say about maybe somewhere between 63 to 65% of victims of human trafficking have been gang raped, because that's just something that they do. That's just the satanic order. They just go around and they dominate people. And some people, the experience, it changes it's going to change a person regardless. But sometimes it changes a person for the better, and sometimes it changes a person for the worse. It really depends on their connection with the universe. It depends on karma. It depends on how they handle the situation. It's delicate, you know, but, you know, I'm not in a position to judge a rape victim, you know. If they become a villain, I understand, because that's a very traumatic experience, and that's very cruel to do to someone, especially if it's over and over and over and over again. I can see why somebody will become a villain. I can understand that. But if someone decides to still be a good person and go through all that, you know, they're real strong. They're a really strong person, and they got my full support. Because some of them people that made it through and they didn't become a villain, they supported me. They supported me. And they helped me through the hard times. And they told me to keep my head up high and just don't feed into it. And, you know, don't take their actions personal. They're just desperate. I get distracted when I hear loud noises. That's the type of dominance that I have to go through on a daily basis. The car engines and the loud banging and the, you know, following me closely up and down the street. When I tell my story, when I say what needs to be said, and I talk about the tough conversations, that's a lot of times when I get violent reactions. A lot of times it's mostly my sister that's acting like that, but sometimes Sierra will put her 2 cents in. But Sierra's not really the problem. She's just done some very bad things, and like I said, I think if she continues at this rate, she will become she's starting to become the problem. I feel like if she continues at the rate she's going, she'll become the problem at some point. But right now, my sister's the problem. And she's been the problem for a long time. I just didn't know. I'm just now finding this out. Because at first I thought Sierra was the problem because of the horrible, fucked up things that she did to me. But then over time, I started to realize that she's just acting on insecurity and she's just desperate. I mean, she's a cruel person. She's racist. Like, that's her character. She's racist and she's a cruel person. But she's not the problem. She's just desperate. You know? But like I said, I think if she continues at a certain rate, she's going to start to become the problem. It really just depends on her behavior and if she's willing to do some character adjustments. That's up to her. You know. But, you know, some of the people who've been through my experience, like my exact experience, they have given me some advice to help me through the process. They've helped me. They've given me a lot of good advice. So I want to share some advice with people who are struggling, and they may have gone through the same thing I've gone through, but they may be too embarrassed to speak up. And I just want to let you know that it's okay to be embarrassed, because the way that these gang stalkers, the way that they behave, I understand that being quiet is like, you know, a form of self-preservation and a safety precaution, and I understand, you know, but when you find it in your heart, or say if a higher power, you know, advises you to speak up on a specific topic, you know, whenever you're ready, I would encourage you to do so, because it takes their power away, believe it or not. Like, a lot of times they would do a lot of antics and a lot of foolery to try to, you know, block you from seeing the loss of power that they're experiencing. But I guarantee you give it time, you be patient, you let a higher power handle it, you know, you surrender your willpower and your pride and all that ego, surrender that to the universe, and I guarantee you'll be taken care of. It doesn't seem like that right now, probably, and sometimes I have my self-doubt sometimes as well, but I've had to look over the course of my life, everything that I've been through, who I was then and how I am now. And I definitely see it. You won't notice it like the next day or, you know, the next hour or whatever, or as soon as you speak up, or you may not see immediate changes, or maybe you will. It depends on the circumstance. But, you know, I guarantee you that you will be